BeamNG.drive was updated, and there's a first-person mode where you are so strong you can literally pull a car. Am I stronger than the Hulk? Find out in this video. Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at the alpha version 0.22 update. The first thing I want to mention is we have 6-ish new scenarios. 4 of them are just updated versions of previously existing ones, and then 2 of them are brand new. And I will show you all the scenarios in depth in a separate video, because right now we need to focus on the other things that are added to the game. So let's load up Utah, USA. And normally I would edit out the loading screens, but this is a brand new loading screen with a brand new vehicle with beautiful wood grain on it. Let's start with what I consider the biggest addition in this update. We have a brand new vehicle. So after years of waiting, the Wendover is finally here. Now in the future, I'll have a video that goes into great detail about just this vehicle, but for now, let's just take a quick look at some of the configurations, starting with the Sport SE 4400 V8 facelift. And the Wendover is lightly based on the LeGran, but it's basically a completely different vehicle. And one of the best parts about the Wendover is, yes, it has a big fat V8 engine, even though it's just front wheel drive. So this thing, if you want wheel spin, you got it. And I think it's a really nice looking vehicle. It has a good blend of sporty and luxury for the time period. And then if we go to the interior, I absolutely love the way this looks. It's all digital screens. And it's not like a modern car with just a boring touchscreen. This is actually cool because it's a single color, single purpose screen. And it has this really nice retro look. And I love watching the tachometer and the speedometer move around as we accelerate. And also, while we're here, we can take a closer look at the rest of the interior. So it really does a good job of having a luxurious feel. You see, it has like this real nice texture on the materials, on the doors and the seats. It's got wood grain. Even on the back, it has some wood grain and nice texturing. It looks very fancy. So now let's go ahead and do a little bit of driving. And as you see, not only is this big fat V8 in the front wheel drive, it's a big fat V8 with a supercharger on it that makes like 350 foot-pounds of torque and 250 horsepower. So it gets you moving surprisingly well once you get some traction, you start actually accelerating. So we're going about 100 miles per hour, which means we have big speed for a big crash, and somehow the engine is still running after that. So we get it off of the wall somehow surprisingly easily to take a quick look at the damage. And yeah, we're not going anywhere after that. And just for fun, we should go ahead and take a look at the engine, because it is strange seeing a transverse mounted V8 engine. It just doesn't look quite right when you look at it. Now, there are cars in real life that have this configuration. They're just not very common. And then of course also there is the supercharger right on top of the V8. And we can drive with the hood off so you can see the engine moving around as we drive, which is one of those things you never really get to see too much, but it is fun to look at. And speaking of moving around as we drive, do you see how soft this suspension is? I'm noticing this suspension dips down a ton every time we tap on the brakes. It almost feels like the rear wheels lift up when you brake hard enough. Oh, look at that. It moves a bunch, but that is a luxury suspension setup. It's nice and soft so you don't feel the bumps. Not necessarily good for driving, but good if you don't want to feel any of the bumps and you want to feel like you're literally driving a couch. Hopefully that couch is safe, because here's a crash that flips us onto our roof. Oh, come on, onto your wheels, come on. Oh, so close. Just needs a little bit of help and then boom, it's onto its wheels. So there's the damage. Oh, and by the way, behind us, we got some brand new buildings. So this is a car dealership called Canyon Auto, who I assume would have all kinds of like trucks and SUVs. And in fact, if you look closely, you can see there's some trucks or SUVs inside the dealership hidden under some sheets. So what do you see when you actually look under the sheet? Absolutely nothing. There's no real car under those. And in addition to that, we have an area over there, which I'm trying to drive to. Unfortunately, we have 0 steering. So we're just gonna go in circles all day. So over here we have a workshop where they could fix up your car and do whatever that needs to be done. The one thing I've noticed about it though is there's no actual branding on it. So is it abandoned or is it unfinished? I'm not quite sure, but the sign is completely blank on both sides. Now back to the Wendover. So far we've driven just the facelifted version, so why don't we take a look at the original version that has a little bit of a different look to it. So from the rear, it actually looks like a completely different vehicle when you have the taillights on. Moving on to the side, we have some minor changes. So on this one, it has a black stripe going around basically the whole vehicle. This one, it's the exact same color as the body of the vehicle. And then on the front, it looks way different. This looks pretty ordinary here, and this one's, where'd the headlights go? Well, actually, the headlights are still there. They're just pop-down headlights. Yeah, we got pop-up headlights sometimes, and sometimes we got pop-down headlights, which are actually probably a lot safer for pedestrians since it doesn't have a big spiky piece that'll catch them and stab them, so that's neat. But honestly, between the two, I think I like the front of this one better, but I like the rear of this one better. So someday in the future, we're going to have an abomination that's going to be the WhyBeAre Wendover that has a combination of all the parts that I like the most. So for now, that's going to do it for the Wendover. Why don't we take a look at the LeGran? Everybody knows the LeGran, you've seen it before, but it's been completely revamped and there are a bunch of new interesting things about it. So first off, we got some derby configurations. So why don't we go ahead and take a quick look at the objectionable. So not only is this a derby configuration, it is a wagon derby configuration. So there were no wagons of the LeGran before now, and you can see this thing looks really beefy and ready to do a derby. Out of all the derby vehicles that come with the game, this one looks the most derby ready, I would say. Although there is one sedan that's just as derby ready. It's his brother, the Atrocious. And on this one, we have the same external-ish roll cage, and the paint jobs in these things are absolutely beautiful. You look at them closely. It was made with like a can of spray paint or maybe a tub of house paint. It is not a pretty paint job, but it's not supposed to be a pretty paint job. These are derby cars. You're not going to spend a ton of money on a paint job for a derby car unless you're an idiot. So let's go ahead and get rid of all the cars which we don't need. And then just a couple more of the LeGrans I want to take a quick look at. So you saw this guy on the load screen, but I love wood grain. So here's a look at the beautiful wood grain. More cars need wood grain. Every car released nowadays should have wood grain. I don't care how dumb it'll look. I like my wood grain. So in addition to that, we have some other interesting ones, like we have the taxi wagon, and then we also have the fire chief, and then we even have some racing configurations of the LeGran. So why don't we take a quick look at this guy? He looks actually surprisingly cool. For what the LeGran is, I did not expect to like the racing version as much as I do, but you know it looks even better than the racing version? We got the rally version, and I like the rally version a little bit better because the big wing just doesn't quite fit the vehicle. This one looks perfect. It's a great vehicle, and let's just do a quick test. How well can it rally? Well, we don't have a dirt road, so it's not a real rally test, but if we jump off of the edge over here, there is a dirt road where we can do a real rally test, but first, a crash test. It crashes very, very well. Unfortunately, we have damaged the induction system, although that's not going to stop it. It can still drive, and hey, would you look at that? Here's an actual place to test its rally capabilities. And right now, it's really badly damaged, so we're not going to try to test it right now. We'll take a quick look at how it coped with that pretty big impact. So let's go ahead and reset it and do an actual rally test. So here's the goal. We are going to race to the ranger station. That's nice and simple, and it only should take about a minute, and it should be a great test of the rally version of the LeGran. And so far, it's doing great. We are flying through these dirt roads at almost 100 miles per hour, and it is doing a commendable job. In fact, I would actually say driving on just the regular rally roads is too easy. So let's make it a little bit harder by going through a dried up river. And to get to the river, we're gonna do a mid-air 360 with a smooth landing with minimal damage. Not exactly the way I planned to get down, but it worked amazingly well. Speaking of amazingly well, watch this car land on its wheels amazingly well and continue driving. So not only is the driving capabilities of this car proven to be pretty good, the durability is straight up surprising. Because I put this thing through a battering and it just keeps driving decently well. It's not perfect. No car is going to be perfect after some of these things I've done, but it's still easily able to go highway speeds on this dirt road to get to that ranger station, which is now coming into view. And we're gonna do the violent entry. We're gonna try to flip the vehicle over as we get to the ranger station. So here we go, 80 miles per hour, give it a slide, and yes, there's the flip, crashing into everything, flying off of a cliff. And would you look at this? It still wants to drive. That right there is the proof. This is a crazy durable rally vehicle. This thing could quite possibly be my new favorite rally car. The Pessima probably still drives better, but I love how you can just throw this thing off a cliff and it keeps on going. Now, the race version won't have that same durability, but why don't we do a quick drive with it as well? With the rally one, we had all-wheel drive because yes, there are now some Legrans that come with all-wheel drive from the factory, so of course the rally one would have it. With the race version, it's just front-wheel drive with a little bit over 300 horsepower going to those front wheels, but thankfully it has really big, fat, tacky tires on the front, so it doesn't have any sort of crazy, weird driving characteristics. It just feels like a nice, high-powered front-wheel drive vehicle. And one thing that is kind of funny about this version is how much it backfires. A Legrand should not backfire this much, yet it does. So take a quick listen. It just seems hilarious to me to have a Legrand that's backfiring that aggressively. Alright, so now we need to find a good place to crash this guy. How about just, drive it right off of the cliff. That'll be great. And into some rocks for hopefully a pretty good crash. Unfortunately, the race version is not as durable as the rally version, but it does do an amazing job at landing at very unusual positions. There is no way I could intentionally get the car to land here again. That is all luck, thanks to the power of Grunt high performance auto parts. And you might not have noticed this, but this is the facelifted version of the Legrand, so it's a little bit different than the normal version. The easiest way to tell is you look at the headlights. These are the nice, fancy, facelifted headlights. Now, here's something that's a little bit crazy. BeamNG.drive is no longer just a driving game. It's also now a first-person game. So if you hit F, you can now walk around in first-person mode and do normal walk-around in first-person mode things. For example, let's say we had a pickup truck that was right next door to us. So I'm just going to go ahead and put him right here. And for some reason, when you spawn up a vehicle, it does take you out of first-person mode, so we have to go back to first-person mode, and then we can do some interesting things. For example, if you go to the tailgate, you see it lights up red, and we can click on the tailgate to open it up. And then, once the tailgate is open, we can do fun tailgate-related things. For example, we go and spawn up a cone, which again puts us out of first-person mode, but we go back to first-person mode, and then we can load the cone up into the pickup truck with it spinning all over the place. Now, we could put it over the edge, but I'm doing this legit. Through the tailgate that I just opened, and beautiful. And now we try to close it. Now, the one thing that is a little bit annoying is you see the mouse cursors on the red spot, and I'm clicking and nothing's happening. So the way it works is you actually have to use the center of the screen to click on things, which is kind of hard to do with any sort of precision because we don't have a crosshair, so I just kind of have to eyeball where the center of the screen is, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. Anyways, there's some other vehicles that have this same ability, so let's go ahead and spawn some of them up. First up is the D45 ambulance. We can do some fun things with that. And then also, since we're in the spawning mood, how about we grab the H45 diesel capster rollback of the H series, because both of these ones we can interact with. So for this one, it's really interesting and complex because we have 3 separate buttons we can click, and it tells you what each of them does. It says tilt, extend, and feet. But here's where you really notice how hard it is to find the exact center of the screen sometimes to make sure you click them accurately. And sometimes the vehicle shifts around when you click it, and it just makes it that much harder to continue clicking on it while you're doing things. Now, one thing that is cool is you can actually go forward and back depending on what button you click, so it's not just one direction with the levers. So let's go ahead and fully extend this, so if we wanted to, we could load up a car onto it. We're probably not gonna. I'm just showing you the abilities of the clickable buttons that are in first person mode with the rainbow colors, which definitely needs a better name because that name is far too long. Perfect. We have now completely extended the ramp so we can walk up it because I am a car. Also, we do have the ability to jump as well, which we actually had to do there because apparently this is too big of a lip for me to walk up properly, although it worked that time. Strange. So let's try this one more time. Here we go. Walking up the ramp, and it worked that time. It should work because if you have stairs, for example, you can walk up the stairs. So anyways, we also have an ambulance, and for the ambulance, we can once again go ahead and open the doors. Now, the one sad thing is we cannot go inside of the ambulance. I tried to like hop into here, and all I've managed to do is smash my head into it and bust it up a little bit. Similarly, if you want to try to walk into the bus, it doesn't seem like it'll let you do that. So we're going to grab a bus real quickly, and then for this one, we have to open up the doors using the hotkey. We go to first person mode, and we're on the wrong side of the bus for some reason, so we got to walk all the way around, and then we try as hard as I can to go into the bus. And no, it actually kind of worked this time. I've not had to do that before. That's interesting. So we're not actually on the ground though, we're like floating. We've basically just glitched into it, to be honest with you guys. That is what's happened. So normally, when you try to go into the bus, what happened earlier is you just kind of bounce off the door. So let's give this one more try. There we go, that's what I expected to see. And also, in the process, I somehow busted the doors. How did I manage to glitch through it though? That is the true question. It's one of those things like once in a lifetime, never can happen again. Nope, we managed to do it again. You basically just got to go so high up, you're going over the door. Very, very odd. And then once you're in here, you really can't move. So we've just basically made a mess of things. So here's also one of the cool things about the first person mode. When you're in first person mode, you are strong, ridiculously strong, because you can still use the node grabber on things to shove cars around. So for example, if we wanted to, we could just go and pull along this LeGran and put him wherever I wanted to. So what's the best thing to do with this newfound power? Pretty obvious, isn't it? We gotta push this LeGran off of a cliff, which shouldn't be too hard because we have a nice cliff directly behind us. We just gotta get the car moving. Oh, and by the way, if I did that dumb thing where I put a random clip at the start of the video, I would be like, BeamNG.drive was updated, and there's a first-person mode where you are so strong, you can literally pull a car. Am I stronger than the Hulk? Find out in this video. And the answer to that is, I declare myself as stronger, and if he wants to prove otherwise, come fight me in BeamNG.drive. You won't, you coward. Anyways, we've now gotten the car to the edge, and whoa, it actually got off the edge mostly. All right, here we go. We are so close to getting this car off the edge. I'm off the edge almost, though. I don't want to fall. I just want to push the car off the edge. So we got to be careful and get back up the lip. Whoa, okay. We made it. Now we just got to push this car very, very aggressively. You thought I was going to say carefully. And there it goes. It's gone. Here's a new camera angle you don't normally see when I drop a car off a cliff. A first-person mode that's just watching it tumble. So I succeeded in my goal of not falling off the cliff with the car. The bad news is I want to go take a closer look at it, and best way to do that is just jumping off a cliff. Now, thankfully, there is no fall damage, so you can jump from whatever mountain you want, and you'll be perfectly fine. Which also gives you a kind of interesting idea. What off-road courses can you do on foot? Are there some things you can do on wheels but not on foot? That is something we'll have to test in a later video. But for now, we got to take a look at this car. That is a significant amount of damage, although I did a lot of that damage just yanking the car along. You could tell a lot of that is yanking damage. And then we can just reset and we're back up here. And here's another fun thing you can do in first person mode. If you like run at vehicles and then jump, you can bounce off of them and cause little dents to them. See? Like I've just dented in the door a little bit. I busted down the window. And you can just slowly but surely destroy a vehicle just bouncing off it like this. Like you're some sort of karate master who keeps doing karate moves on the car. And you're hitting it so hard, it bounces you backwards a little bit. That's why I keep bouncing backwards. Just that's like the recoil from the jump. But it's just fun to cause a lot of damage like this to the car. You get all these little nice bumps and bruises to the vehicle that shouldn't affect its driving capabilities. Now here's a crazy idea I have. We're not going to do it in this video because it requires a lot more research and testing. But I want to know what's the fastest way you can break a car by just bouncing your body into it? Or can you even completely break a car by doing this? That is a question I want answered, and hopefully you guys will too, because someday we're going to test that. The front still looks perfect. We need to fix that. Come on, hit that front. Hit that front. See, I don't know how to consistently damage it, but eventually I will, or I'll just walk right over it. Either way, you can see we did a good amount of damage to this truck with just my bare hands, basically. There's no node grabber or anything to do all that damage to it. Although, we still got the front looking at me all perfect. We gotta destroy the front some more somehow. Unfortunately, the front is just so strong. We can have a tiny little dent, and that is it. I want more dents. So when it doesn't work out, there's always the lazy solution, which is node grabber grab, and then we pull, and then we yoink, like so, and now the front is damaged. And we could do more damage if we wanted to with the node grabber, just yanking pieces off. Also, if you're a maniac, what you can do is you can grab the truck and then use it to push yourself along by using max node strength. So now we can go even faster than normal walking speed until you get crushed by the truck and then popped into the air. And oh, we're flying actually. Wait a minute. This gives me a really good idea. So we can break physics if we stand on the truck and then use the node grabber to lift up the truck. So we gotta see if we can even get into the truck. Oh, wait a minute, I'm being dumb. There's an easy solution to this. Look, all we need to do is click the button on the tailgate, and then it opens up, and look how easy it is to get into. Perfect. All right, so here we go. We're going to grab the truck and then lift, and I am flying. I have broken physics, and I have learned how to fly by lifting myself up with my bootstraps. And then we drop it on top of a bus, causing some really good damage. That was great. I'm actually shocked that I managed to land on the bus. And one last thing I should mention is you can reset in first person mode, and it resets just the person. It doesn't affect the vehicles around you. But one thing that's funny is when you reset, it actually gives you a little icon in the bottom left telling you the condition of the car. So apparently you're still a car. You're just a car that walks on 2 feet. It'd be funny if they replaced the car with like a little person who's all smiling like, I'm in good health. And then you somehow damage the person. It's like, he has a broken leg. Like, wait a minute. There's soft body simulation for a person and cars now. That would just be crazy. Anyways, another fun thing you can do in first person mode is first we got to go back into a vehicle real quickly. So we're going to go into the ambulance. Now when you're in third person mode, it doesn't transition like that. But if you're in first person mode already, like the driver camera for example, and then you go to first person mode, you enter the vehicle, you can do this really cool smooth transition where it actually looks like you're getting into the vehicle to drive it. And then you can drive it perfectly normal. And also, this is a neat way of switching between vehicles. So if you have like a dozen vehicles, instead of hitting tab going from vehicle to vehicle to vehicle, you can just walk up to the door of the vehicle and enter it. So I think that could be really useful in some specific situations. And with that, we are officially done at Utah, USA. Now we're going to change things up and head over to West Coast, USA. And now we need to do a little bit of driving. And you know what car is perfect for driving? Literally any configuration of the Wendover, because they're all brand new to me. So we're going with the Police Interceptor, which looks a little bit funny for a police car, but it works. So in East Coast USA, West Coast USA, Utah USA, and Italy, they added some new buildings. So those buildings are either car repair shops or car dealerships. You saw a couple of them in Utah, and I'll also show you some of them on West Coast USA as well. And that building over there, that is the new one. It's Jefferson Motors, although it looks like JD Motors when you look at it in the big logo. So I don't know if it's supposed to be Jefferson and something for the D or what. But either way, it's a dealership. And it says like Bruckell and Gravel on it, although they misspelled gravel, those goofs. And you could go and buy cars here if there was car buying mechanics in career mode, but there isn't yet. But I'm just looking at this and the first person mode, and I'm thinking we're one step closer to career mode, right? Fingers crossed. Anyways, here's another fun thing we can do. So if we go ahead and spawn up some traffic, then we tell that AI to chase me. We now have to avoid a bunch of maniacs in cars who want to run me over. Yep, this is completely different than a driving game at this point. It's now a walking game. The good news is apparently most of the AI is being really dumb and they have no idea what to do. Like these guys here, come on. Come on, do something. Whoa, that guy was trying to do something, and so was the guy behind me, apparently. He just saved my life. I almost got rear-ended, and he just took him out. And okay, this is actually getting a little bit hard. I got hit. I'm broken-legged. I'm down. You can tell because I was moving a lot faster. But here's the good trick. Hey, where's your door, you maniac? What happens if we hop onto a vehicle? That's what I was trying to do, but he won't let me. Let me on! Aha! Y'all don't know what to do now. I am perfectly safe. As the car's, oh, nope, that would have hurt. Well, oh, I'm getting just battered now. I gotta actually get away from all the traffic because they are smashing me. Anyways, though, that's gonna do it for this video. And as always, if you want a full list of changes, do check out the changelog on the website. And until next time, this has been WhyBeAre. And remember, if you like or dislike this video, I will know. I can tell by analyzing how much damage you can do to a car by just straight up body slamming it in first person mode. So do the right thing. And I'll see you next time. Don't even try to reverse that. That's just me making gibberish noises. Of course, somebody out there's gonna be like, look, at the end of the video, WhyBeAre's cursing. No, I'm literally just making random noises. Calm down.